Good morning, everyone, lovely people. Who is in the chat today? How are you? I wanted to get a gauge. Oh, people are already chatting. Hi, Real Joe. Hi, Angel. Oh, hi, Angel. It's been far too long. Missed you on the chat. Hello, Enzo Catherine. Hi, Phoebe. Hi, oh, everyone's here. This is great. Hello, Alec. Welcome back. Okay, I'm going to get a bit of a gauge today. Hi, Catherine. Welcome, everyone. So I want to get a bit of a gauge today about where the countries that people are from, but not quite yet. But I'll explain how that relates to today's live in a second, because I realised that just from the part doing the Brexit lives, that actually, good morning, Maddie. It's written in capitals. Good morning. I realised that I've not been utilising this amazing dearth of knowledge that people have about their own countries, and I feel like this is going to be I'm missing a trick, basically, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so are you ready? Let's get started. First activity is a bit of a classic geography activity. Blank screen, that would help if I did not have blank screen. There we go. Classic geography activity. So I want you to write questions that you have about this place. So I'm not going to give you any context. I'm just giving you a photo, and all you know is that it's in Mumbai in India. So you've already got a bit of place-based knowledge. So you've already got the kind of where, but you might want to ask, I want you to write down on the chat as many good questions, as many questions you can think of that you have about this image. Okay. Oh, Miz has got, how many people live in those houses? Very good question. That's the first thing I would think. Also, the conditions, the living conditions. I've forgotten Have they always lived there? Right. So this is a good time-based question. And I've forgotten have as a question word, which is a little bit silly. Let me get the clip up as well. Oh, these are really good questions. How tall are the houses? Yeah, this is a great one. I'm just gonna quickly get my Snappy up. One sec. Da 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 da. Yeah, it's ready. Slightly getting in the way. Maybe it's a little bit big. Oh well. Okay, more questions. These are great. Oh my god, I need to read them quickly. How many generations live in each house? Oh, great question, Angel. How long have their family been living there? How many generations? Why do they look like that they are poor? Oh, frostbite. Okay. If someone looks, I mean, the houses look like, that's actually a really good question, frostbite, because actually, just because they look like they're living in these conditions, it doesn't mean that they are monetary poor or that they don't have jobs. Okay, I think in our countries we associate living in these kind of conditions with homelessness and with not being able to have a stable job. How deep are the houses? When did they build the houses? Oh, these are great questions. Keep them coming. Let's have one more minute. Are there communities of families there? So so the community element to this, Angel, great question, because this is actually a massive part of how people survive in these kind of places. What essential supplies do they have access to? Great, Catherine. How do they help each other? Are they happy with their lives? Miz, great question. How stable are their houses? Like, what maybe natural disasters might affect their houses? Great question. Get out the freezer. What level of education do they have? Have they ever met? Oh, these are like absolutely stunning questions. Now, what would you call, I'm going to stop us there. Thank you, Rebecca. How isolated do they feel from the rest of the city? Great question. This kind of divided, like having a almost gated communities. That's what you would experience if you ever studied this in relation to Brazil. Favelas are often in Rio and Sao Paulo, often gated, so they're completely separate from the city, and they have these big fences up between them. In India, these kind of settlements are not as separate, but there are places that have like high security to try and keep out people. It's really interesting. Okay, really quickly, Do they like their lives? Yeah, all these questions are really important. And actually, that's what we're going to challenge today, is this like concept of what makes a good living environment, and how in India this is people sort of take their opportunities, take their lives, take the opportunities in their lives, and they try to kind of turn them around, right? That they actually, on the surface, they might look like they have nothing, when actually they really do make the most of what they do have. Okay, all big like value-based things. What would you call a place like this? What name would you give it? This kind of settlement, the houses that they live in. What options do they have? Thank you, Frostbite. That's great. These are all great questions. Okay, get out the freezer. Yeah, a slum. Okay, so you would call this kind of settlement in India a slum. Now, does anyone know the name of the largest and oldest slum in India? This is it. I'll give you a clue. It is in Mumbai. The largest. It's a great name. I'm not going to end up pronouncing it correctly. Does anyone know the name of the... Maddie's in there straight away. It is Dharavi. Good knowledge. Okay. Does anyone know how many people live in Dharavi? This is Dharavi, by the way. And this isn't even the whole of Dharavi. This is like a connection. This is a part of it. Yeah, Rebecca, you're right. Maddie is right. How many people do you think live there? Right. Estimated amount. Wow, Frostbite, you got it straight away. Estimated amount is 1 million people. Great. Also, by the way, can I thank our wonderful new biology teacher, Doc HB, Hannah Biology. That's not actually a second name, but I'm HG. She's HB. But Doc HB recommended this new program to me, so it means I can draw, and I can actually do it. Can you tell I'm excited about it? Right, okay. More importantly, how large do you think the area, in square kilometres, do you think is the area that people live in Dharavi? So this is like, you think of 1 million people live in Dharavi. What do you think the square kilometres are? Oh, not in hectares. I can't do hectares. Don't know them. That's like a football measure, isn't it? When you do football pitches. I did actually try and compare the size of Dharavi to football pitches. I'm going to tell you afterwards. Oh, these are great. Oh my God, Miz, what? You've actually got it in one. Some people have guessed 25 square kilometres. That would make kind of like in your head, you're like, everyone's packed together, but that would kind of make sense. 100 square kilometres, absolutely not. Crazy amount of space, for 1 million people to live in. 2 square kilometres. It's blowing my mind. So what you can do on Google Maps is you can zoom in and zoom out the area that you live in. I really recommend you do this because it puts it in perspective. And you can zoom out to see what changes the scale on Google Maps, and then you can see the distance of 2 kilometres, and you can draw it on Google Maps just even with your eyes, and you can see the area that you live in that's 2 square kilometres, and then imagine 1 million people living in that space. It's absolutely crazy. So the live for today is kind of about millionaires, but it's really about the people that live in this slum in Dharavi. And I wanted to tell you more about them. You might have. Has anyone learnt about Dharavi before in lessons? Because this might be something that you've touched upon in other geography lessons. It's got to be a bit cramped to get out of the freezer, I imagine. And we're going to look at the conditions. We're going to consider the conditions a bit more. Anyone? Real Joe has. Cool. Angel hasn't. Even if you've seen Slumdog Millionaire, has anyone seen the film Slumdog Millionaire? Hands up if you have. Rebecca has in geography, great. We've got a few no's, few yeses, so we're going to find out some more about it. Yeses, seen the film. Okay, so you remember in the film, it's actually a true story. So there was a man who lived in Dharavi who won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Amazing. And actually, because of the film, that Danny Boyle, who's the director, because of that film, lots of children, including the child that acted in the film, so that child who was in the film actually lived in Dharavi, was brought up in Dharavi. Lots of people have been, children being given these amazing opportunities in relation to education, training opportunities outside when they've got a bit older, and it's created this whole kind of charitable network because of the film. But actually, there are other industries within Dharavi that make a huge amount of money. Okay, Dev Patel, yeah, I love Dev Patel. I need to watch the new the Charles Dickens. What's it called? Not Charles Dickens. There's a film that he's been in recently that's like a period drama, and I really want to see it. Okay. And it was made. Leo was made in Dharavi, so that film was made in Dharavi. So we're using the film as inspiration to find out more about. It's not just this one story of a person who has made their millions through being on this program. Actually, there are real people living in these conditions who have not themselves, but the industries have made millions of dollars. Okay, and you shall find out. How many years do you think Dharavi has existed for? David Copperfield, yeah, David, thanks, get out of the freezer, love it. Okay, how many years do you think Dharavi has existed? And obviously the high-rise buildings didn't exist. Oh, got a range of things. Okay, 200, 100, 350. Dharavi has existed for 150 years. So when Mumbai was a trading port for the British Empire, lots of it was actually kind of swampy because it's by the sea, was swampy, boggy land. And Dharavi actually used to be an island on this river estuary, so the bottom of the river, an island within the river, okay? And people reclaimed this land, and it actually became a fishing village for a very long time. So people made their living out of fishing from the sea and in the river estuary itself, okay? But life has changed pretty dramatically since then, okay? Why? Oh, it's like giving me loads of messages all in one go. That's very confusing. Have they always lived there? Yeah, so these are questions that people asked at the start of the live when we were coming up with questions about these people. Where do you think people have moved from and to live in Dharavi? Why have they chosen to move to Dharavi? Alec, yeah, good knowledge. 1882, nice. Real Joe just copy and pasted the chat. Thanks for reiterating. Love it though. It's like reminding me of some of the questions, Real Joe. So totally fine. Oh wait, am I meant to be calling Real Joe Maddie? Oh my god, am I getting it wrong again? Yeah, sorry, Maddie. Great. Right, they thought they could earn some money. Hi Phoebe. where have they moved from though in India? Where do you think most of the people, this million people that now live in Dharavi, and this community has grown over tens of years, where have they moved from? The countryside. Good. What's a better name for the countryside? Rural. Thank you, Age of Jess. Love it. Okay. Does anyone know what it's called when people in emerging and developing countries move from rural areas to find jobs in cities? Better paid jobs, better qualities of life, healthcare, education. What's that called? This is top geography. It's got the word rural in it. Does anyone know? Oh, here we go. Rebecca's got it. Frostbite got it nearly. So it's called rural to urban migration. So many of these people, if you imagine someone in, for example, Bihar. So Bihar is one of the poorest states in India. It's in northeast India. And life expectancy there is, in some places, is less than 50 years. There's huge amounts of high infant mortality rates. Life there is very, very hard. this movement of people has happened over hundreds of years, but in the last 50 years has increased exponentially. That means it's gone up. It's doubled every time. Okay, so this means that slums in India, including Dharavi, have grown to a size that is inconceivable compared to its fishing village 150 years ago. Right, let's move on. Okay. If you were in Dharavi, Leo, I don't really know what that question means. I feel like okay. I mean, that's not assuming that people don't have internet connection in Dharavi, which they do. They have dongles. Frostbite's asked a question about COVID. How bad is COVID in Dharavi? This is actually a great question because over 60%, actually I'm not, I'll talk about it now. Over 60% of people in India work in the informal sector. And the informal sector, essentially, let's talk about that now. So the informal sector is does anyone know what it is? Let's ask first. Does anyone know what the informal sector is? This relates to the issues with COVID, not just cloth making. If it's informal, like think about when you're wearing like formal clothing and you officially maybe are going somewhere and you've been invited, like an official invitation, you're wearing like a little tux, you're looking very formal, like formal clothes. Informal, you've got no rules, you're wearing your cash clothes. Think of it like that. Okay, jobs aren't monitored by the government. Good, Alec. Thank you. This is like, I'm sure going to show off because Alec is one of my students. Great. So no government regulation. No government regulation. No government regulation. It's casual employment. Yes, thank you, Uncle Bill. So it means that you don't have like, oh my God, can I spell casual? That I just freaked out there. Casual employment. So it means you work your times change when you work. Long hours, really long hours. And you don't have a contract either. Does anyone get that? So no contract. So it means you're not protected by any kind of workers' rights. So you don't really have no trade union. You don't really have a way of holding your employer to account, okay? So no trade union. Trade unions protect workers in certain industries. They give them lawyers when they need to bring a claim against their employer. All of these things. Why my pen not working? Oh dear, it's not working. Okay, so they're not taxed. No, Alec, great question. There's no tax. The government doesn't get. So it means that what happens is people can make money quickly and you don't have to have a bank account. You obviously get paid cash in hand. So in poorer countries, this is really, really common. But it means the government doesn't make any tax money out of it, and it means it can't be regulated. So you can't protect people, and it also doesn't pay back into a system which, the government can provide things like sanitation, can provide things like roads with that tax money. Okay. Oh, there's some nice things being said. That's nice. Thank you so much. Now, to answer the COVID question, Frostbite, because the informal sector hasn't got protections on how people work, some have carried on living in Dharavi, but many people have actually chosen, despite it not having a contract and not having protection, have chosen to move back to rural areas. I wish I had a photo of it, and I do look it up. Yeah, good point, Maddie, about the riots as well. But there were riots in India because people were trying to leave. The government suddenly closed certain industries and closed the cities, and people all moved back to the rural areas, and this created chaos. So if you Google India COVID migration, it comes up with these literally roads like motorways full of people migrating out of the cities. Right, what we got left? Okay, final activities. How, if you were living in these conditions, okay, you're a rural person who maybe has a low level of education, as people were asking questions about at the start, how would you go about making your millions? What would you do to try and make $1 million? How would you do that in a place like Dharavi? Yeah, Maddie, I agree. There's okay, by the way, people are talking about the riots that are happening in the US at the moment. I'm going to be doing a live next week about the geography of race, and I really encourage you to join that, because we're going to be talking about the definition of race, how race has been used in the past against people, to what's that term even mean, and how it's been used to control people in the past, but then looking at the positive spin of how we have shared so much information about the US riots at the moment and why they're happening, and actually that we feel connected because of globalization. We feel connected to people all the way across the world, and we want to help, and we want to listen to these struggles of against racism. Okay. Maddie's copying and pasting the chat again. Right, how would you make your millions? I'm like, I've allowed everyone to get oh, people have said I've opened a cheese shop. Sorry. Get out of the freezer. Cheese? Now that is, I just don't think that's a thing. To be able to make cheese, you've got to have, I suppose if it was like the kind of cheese that survives in warm temperatures, then maybe actually people don't eat that much cheese in India. Like they eat paneer, so paneer cheese. It would have to be like a hard cheese, delicious paneer curry. It's what I ate when I went there. Cheese grommet, a chocolate shop. Okay, these are all going to be really hard things to manufacture. A game show, yeah, you could start maybe like a game show / lottery type venture, so people buy tickets. I don't know, I feel like that'd be taking money off people that they really shouldn't be gambling. But who am I to judge people who buy lottery tickets? Might get lucky. Be a president. You could become a politician. You could open a tea shop. You're not going to make a very high markup on tea though, Phoebe. What's going to make a high markup? That means like something that's valuable. You manufacture, and then you can sell for lots of money. I love tea, says Maddie. 2 Maddies. I forgot there's 2 Maddies. Politician. So you could become a politician. Yeah, okay, fine. You're not gonna. But then, are you gonna make £1 million by being in politics? If you're a corrupt politician, maybe. You could maybe be a guide. People are talking about game shows and stuff and being on TV. You could be a guide for people visiting. That is actually a thing. I don't know if I agree with it a bit. It's like poverty tourism, and it's really common. So people pay for a tour around Dharavi to see what life is like there. Water. Okay, water. Yeah, you could, because water sanitation systems are not going to be that great. Okay, none of you have picked. No offense, but none of you have picked the industries that actually make millions of pounds. But you did a good job, and you gave us some really funny answers. Donald does not live in India. Yes, Leo, you are right. He does not live in India. You could be a property mogul, though. Maybe you could. But actually, okay, this is a crazy fact. So, let me make sure I get this right. A room in Dharavi, one single room, costs £10 a month for a family to rent. £10. And the average wage that a whole family makes in Dharavi per month is £200. So the cost of property in Dharavi, like if you were going to actually rent a room in one of these slum houses, doesn't cost that much. So you would have to actually build some skyscrapers like the ones in the image if you really wanted to make some money. Okay, right. These are actually industries that make millions and millions of pounds a year. It's estimated that the businesses 5,000 businesses that are in Dharavi make over $1 billion a year. They're worth $1 billion a year. Okay, what are the main industries? You tell me. From these photos, there are 4 main industries that I want us to get, and then we're going to discuss what the benefits of this are, because they're kind of millionaires in another sense as well. That's a lot of wanga. Yeah, it is get out of the freezer. People talking about Donald Trump, always good. Oh, I've missed the key point of Donald. Yeah, but I'm trying not to get distracted, Catherine. I'm trying to be a teacher. Keep everyone on track. Okay, pottery. Good. Here we go. People, Angel's definitely just wanting to eat chocolate because she keeps mentioning chocolate. Okay, this pottery industry is one of the oldest communities in Dharavi, and it's got a lovely name, the Kumbala community, and most of the people are from northwest India, from a state called Gujarat. Okay. Oh, my battery's going to run out, so we're going to have to be quick. So northwest India, and this pottery now during Diwali, it's a celebration in the Hindu religion. This is when a lot of pottery is sold, but it's generally is around. I'm not sure about how many people it employs. If it's similar to the other industries, then I'm sure it is. Okay, water recycling materials. This is huge. Okay, recycling in Dharavi makes an estimated £7 million English pounds a year, and it's estimated that 60% of all of Mumbai's waste goes through Dharavi, is sorted in Dharavi. Okay. The leather industry makes a lot of money. The conditions people work in are often single room factories like the ones we see here, and there is around 15,000 single room factories in Dharavi itself. There's also a big industry in aluminium bars. So you basically get all this metal and you make it into beads and then you melt it down. You can make up to $78 per bar. So this is all from the recycling. Now, my computer's about to die. Thank you to everyone who has, and trading all of this. So people are selling all of these goods out of Dharavi, and as I said, it makes $1 billion a year. So there are over 1 million people in Dharavi who work, and 60% of them actually work in Dharavi. So 60% of the 1 million people work in Dharavi in these small industries. And they make a huge amount of money, and they make the most out of the situation they've got. Okay, you've all made some brilliant guesses. I'm worried about my laptop running out of battery. And this means I'm actually going to finish on time. Glad to know everyone likes chocolate. Glad to know that hopefully you've learned something about how actually people who live in these slums in India are incredibly entrepreneurial, incredibly innovative, and the opportunities that they give themselves by working this hard, working in these conditions are amazing. So they give their children, obviously, hopefully if they make enough money that they can give their children these opportunities to leave living in the slum and to go to school outside of Dharavi. Lots of children do leave Dharavi to go to schools in other parts of Mumbai. I hope this has given you a little insight into what people's lives are like in this country, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And take care of yourselves. Thanks everyone for being here. See you next week. So third part of Brexit, and which will actually talk about the final question: Will Brexit end the EU? And then we're going to talk about race, so relating to what's happening in the news at the moment. And I hope everyone is well and keeping well. If anyone is from the US, which they probably won't be at this time of the day. But anyway, take care, everyone. I know it's buffering. Okay, bye guys.